And that has been very important to the average way of life of the average American that a lot of people don't realize is now at risk.
So what they did essentially was they offered a protection racket, just as governments and gangsters typically do. They say, we're going to protect you in exchange for our protection, our military weapons, and we're going to make sure that your country, I guess you could call it a company, that your country remains secure and that the House of Saud essentially stays in control here. We're going to do everything we can with the CIA, with the military-industrial complex to protect you. In return, we're going to make sure that you price oil in dollars, and then you take all the money that you get and you bank it at the Federal Reserve. So there we've got the CIA as well as the Federal Reserve, our two organizations that we're not allowed to audit, both there in supporting the House of Saud. And, of course, Prince Bandar, 22 years as an ambassador to the United States, now head of the Saudi intelligence service, pushing very heavily for us to get involved in a war in Syria, promising that Saudi Arabia would even pay our expenses if we would go to war with in Syria. This is essentially somebody that is tied in as a proxy for the CIA, a proxy for the Federal Reserve in this area, isn't it?
You've nailed it. That's exactly what it is. And, Saudi Arabia really is a family corporation. When I traveled to Kuwait and went to Iraq, it really is a small, rich class. And then it's all the workers, and there's workers from, India, Thailand, across the world, and they have no voting rights, even though they try to say, that everyone's equal. It really isn't. And it's really a shame that the Americans are exposed, that that's who your allies are. It really is a suppressed society. And you look at what's going on here, even with Syria, where Obama has failed foreign policy. He was backing the exact individuals which today are ISIS. This is really, if you wanted to write a book about failed foreign policy, all you have to do is just write a summary of what Obama's done in the last 6 years. And it's sadly what every American needs to know. The worst possible outcome of a failed U.S. foreign policy is Obama's pushed Russia and China closer together than the last 100 years combined. And that is the worst possible aspect, and that's part of what we're calling the Colder War.
News article today that just came out. China's treasury holdings fall to their lowest since February 2013. They held $1.25 trillion in U.S. debt, but as of October, a $13.6 billion drop from September, said the Treasury Department. So already we see the Federal Reserve losing some of its clout there. That is a key part of the petrodollar, that the Federal Reserve keeps that clout there. And, of course, the way that Putin is going to attack the petrodollar is using BRICS, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. He's going to use them to go around the American dollar and essentially take the American dollar away from being the world's reserve currency. Is that correct?
Definitely. And I urge all your viewers to go to the Colder War website, colderwar.com. We've actually created videos to really make it an entertaining, but more importantly, educational aspect of what's going on right now with the Colder War. And, my book made the New York Times bestseller list, and we really nail what's going on. It's not just about, China and Russia, but you look at France. They've attacked the petrodollar. They've turned their back on the U.S. dollar. You look at what Canada's doing, one of the major partners and the little brother of America. They're now doing currency swaps outside of the U.S. dollar. The secret of the petrodollar, the rest of the world's talking about it. It's only the American government that's trying to hide it and cover it up.
Yeah, I like your book because, like I said before, it puts things into a context, and it's a real page turner. I didn't expect to see that from an economics book. Anybody that likes history, anybody that likes politics is really going to like this book. I like the fact that you go back into very old history and bring it up to the current level in so many different countries and in so many different ways. And as you pointed out, of course, as everybody knows, after World War II, the U.S. was essentially in the catbird seat. They were untouched domestically in terms of production. They had most of the world's manufacturing capacity, a large part of the world's gold. And as you pointed out, as that commodity started to come under pressure, they moved over to essentially using oil as the economy, as the commodity that's backing the currency. I had never really thought about it that way before.
Yeah, and what's interesting about all this, the average American, and you never hear about this, but it's sad for people to realize that even within the U.S. the last 25 years, the American electricity matrix is dependent about 10%. 1 in every 10 homes in America is powered by Russian nuclear fuel.
Well, hang on. We're going to be right back. We've got to go to commercial break with Marin Katusa, The Colder War. Stay with us.
We've had an amazing year here at Supernatural Silver. We've truly enjoyed the fantastic response from thousands of people as they've tried our extraordinary product, and we're thrilled at the life-changing results people have. Our company email is continually full of happy, satisfied customers who thank us for the help they've received from Supernatural Silver. This holiday season, as you think of gifts to give your loved ones, consider giving Supernatural Silver, a gift that can help provide good health and wellness, a gift that can change lives and make a real difference. In a world where we are constantly exposed to dangerous health threats, give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance. Give Supernatural Silver. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HOLIDAY2014 for 30% off. And this holiday season, we wish you and yours the blessings of peace and good health from all of us here at supernaturalsilver.com.
What looks good under your Christmas tree and tastes even better? Big Berkey water filters. Yes, the gift of clean water. A gift that provides a great foundation for achieving good health in the lives of your loved ones. A Big Berkey water filter gives them protection from bacteria, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, pesticides and herbicides, VOCs and more. And best of all, a Big Berkey water filter is a gift that lasts for many years with no additional investment. And that saves time and money in filter replacements that other water filters require and are even powerful enough to purify treated, untreated, or even stagnant pond water. As always, all orders over $50 are shipped free, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Order online at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com, spelled Big, B-E-R-K-E-Y, waterfilters.com, or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-B-E-R-K-E-Y. Gift well this Christmas. Give a Big Berkey water filter.
Do you have relatives and friends that are convinced there is no need ever to prepare for any kind of emergency? Are these also folks you buy Christmas presents for? At 30dayfoodsupply.com, we can solve both of these problems at the same time. Go to 30dayfoodsupply.com or call 541-229-0010. We can ship your Christmas presents directly to them. Choose from our original $99 30-day food supply, our long-term storage vegan burger mixes, and other oatmeal, soups, porridges, beans, and granolas for everyday use. All products are non-GMO, MSG-free, and vegetarian. Most are gluten, soy, and nut-free. Call 541-229-0010 today. Oregon Trail Foods and 30dayfoodsupply.com keep prices low, cutting out the middleman by buying directly from their producers in Oregon. Remember, only $10 ships your entire order to the lower 48. Visit the website 30dayfoodsupply.com. Call 541-229-0010. 30dayfoodsupply.com, 541-229-0010.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his two-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
There's a man going around.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show on this Tuesday, December 16th, 2014. I'm David Knight, and we're talking to Marin Katusa. As his bio here points out, he's one of the most successful fund managers in the energy and resource exploration sectors. His hands-on approach has taken him around the world, and he really understands the historical context. This is an excellent book here, The Colder War, published by Casey Publishing. And, of course, that's Doug Casey's group, and Doug Casey has been a guest with here with Alex several times. Now, just before we went to the break, Mr. Cattuso, you started to talk about the U.S. dependence on Russian oil. Tell us about that.
Well, it's actually the Russian nuclear fuel, uranium.
Yes, sorry.
And
yeah.
It's shocking to me that, last year, for example, a Russian company produced more uranium on American soil than all of the American companies combined. That's shocking to me. America imports 90% of the uranium it consumes, and America is the largest consumer of uranium in the world. And more importantly, 10%, one out of every 10 homes in America is powered by Russian nuclear fuel. This is shocking. These are risks that people aren't talking about right now that Americans need to know. It needs to be brought up to the politicians so we can change this failed foreign policy.
And of course, our energy, our access to cheap energy, affects not only our lifestyle, but even our health, our longevity in any country. You can go back and you can show that access to cheap energy is the biggest producer of wealth in any country. Putin understands that. He has built his global plan, as you point out in the book, on the rich natural resources of Russia in terms of being very rich in oil and natural gas, in terms of uranium. On the other hand, we have a president who, even before he came into office, said he was going to shut down the coal industry. He said you could build it, but you could build a coal plant, but it's going to bankrupt you. It looks to me like what he's trying to do is bankrupt the country, either by design or by incompetence. The collateral damage of what Saudi Arabia is doing with the oil prices, they may be aiming that at Putin, or they may be aiming it at domestic competition from oil shale. But either way, it is very destructive of our country's wealth, and it's something that our closest ally, Saudi Arabia, that we supposedly are protecting, is doing against us, not just against the Russians.
You've nailed it. I'm really enjoying the show because as a host, as an interviewer, you're really hitting all of the key subjects here. And I do hundreds of these interviews a year, and it's very rare that someone actually understands this to the depth you do. And what's really critical here is exactly as you stated, I see OPEC with Russia and the U.S. production in a three-way war. It's about market share. And what's critical to the petrodollar, U.S. went from the largest customer to OPEC and Saudi Arabia to now a major competitor to Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE, where NGLs, natural gas liquids, and condensates are now competing for Qatar and Saudi market share. At the same time, the Russians are also competing with it. And ironically, what's going to happen is the side effect, U.S. shale production cannot compete with Russian production or Saudi or the OPEC Gulf, the Arab states production. So you're going to see an implosion within the U.S. corporate oil producers because of the debt level. And it's going to hurt because where have all the big high-paying jobs in Obama's administration happened? It didn't happen in his green bubble revolution, which has completely popped and failed. It's happened in the Bakken, where it's the lowest employment rates in America. It's happened in the Eagle Ford. It's the American energy revolution that has caused these high-paying jobs. And these high-paying jobs are at risk.
And of course, Marin, I just read yesterday on the news here, there was an article from the Telegraph in the UK talking about, well, this falling oil price is going to be good for us in the short term as consumers at the gas pump. But, we're going to have to keep level or maybe even increase rates to consumers for heating their homes because we're going to have to subsidize our renewable resources. So they're not even going to pass along a temporary savings because we know this is temporary. Once Saudi Arabia or OPEC reestablishes their hegemony in energy prices, you're going to see it skyrocket again. That's always the game for the big guys to take a loss. They can hold on and take a loss for a while until they drive out their upcoming competitors. And then once they do, Katie bar the door. They're going to hit us really hard.
Exactly. And Germany's even in a worse situation than the UK. Look at Germany. A lot of people don't realize that in the last decade, they've actually increased their oil imports from the former USSR by over 52%. You look at their gas imports. Germany needs the Russian oil and gas to keep its economy going. And Germany's the economic engine of Europe. So Europe is so vulnerable here.
Well, one of the things that we'll talk about, we're running out of time for this segment. We've got to go to a break. And we're going to come back and talk about Putin, because one of the things I liked about your book is it isn't a hagiography and it isn't a cartoon demon characterization of Putin. You show how he's dangerous, how he's competitive, how his interests do not ally but compete with ours in many ways. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about the petrodollar. You've got a chapter on post-petrodollar. We'll talk about that after we come back with Marin Katusa. The book is The Colder War. Stay with us.